Hi folks, Geek here. Unfortunately, the microphone was not turned on, so we have no audio until about the 8-minute 35-second mark. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Okay. Fair enough.
Who was the last speaker? Because I think maybe they had the microphone.
He took it off himself.
But I don't know, how many microphones you got on you? 2 or 1?
One.
Alright, continue. At least we're recording ambient.
Fair enough.
I'm going to look around for that microphone because it's got to be found.
So, as I was saying, we can calculate Shannon entropy as a pretty reliable heuristic for detecting packed or encrypted executables, even if they don't fire against a PEID or a YARA signature. In that case, we've gone another layer into being able to detect malicious capability. So if we find something that's packed or encrypted, two microphones now.
Well, yeah, we have to.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
That's okay. Yeah.
I just knew it didn't look right.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to pretend that makes me twice as important, which is still not very important. Okay, I think now we're recording properly. Awesome. So in the case that an executable has been seen to be packed or encrypted, we might even choose to adjust the suspicion score a little higher arbitrarily, just because while packers, cryptors aren't malicious in and of themselves, they are most often used for malicious software, right? I think we all know that. And I'm sure you were hoping for more technical talk. I'm hoping for a little bit more discussion because simply put, as I said before, I am possibly the world's worst programmer. So I'm hoping to draw a lot of other people into this effort. I'm trying to make it kind of an open source heuristics engine, really. So I want to draw other people into this. I want to get people talking about it. And I want to get people on board with helping code some of this. So I've written quite a few signatures. Ben Knowles over here, who I work with, has written a few. I think some of our signatures are getting packaged in with Rimnux, so that's kind of cool. It wasn't our fault. I didn't ask him to do that. So I'm slotted for an hour up here. Are there any questions? Critiques, criticisms? Have I missed something really obvious in this? Yes?
Have you, with your signatures, identified any new malware that hasn't been known to look yet?
So far, we have not written enough signatures to be useful for that. I'm definitely getting suspicious capabilities from known malicious software that has very low antivirus detection rates. That's obviously not the same, but it's about as close as I've gotten so far. Anyone else? This will be a very short discussion if there's no questions.
Yeah, you looked at MRaptor. It's in the OA tools. Basically, it's specific to Office, document stuff, and it'll come out and pull the features and say,
right.
Like it has features that are common in ransomware.
Right, and it's a very similar idea. It's part of where I got the idea for this, actually. The other part was from RSA Security Analytics, specifically its malware analysis component. So I used to work for one of their MSSPs. Don't hold that against me. I won't name the company. Please don't hold it against me. But one of the really cool things about that module, and I'm sure other tools can do it, that's just the one I know, but it has the ability to detect files on the wire and apply YARA signatures to them. And then in the investigation screen, you can navigate and carve out based on metadata that's applied arbitrarily by these rules. So at that point, I first discovered that almost none of our customers were using the malware analysis module, which made it not very useful. But it kind of ingrained this idea in my head that rather than just looking for known malicious files, I could be looking for known malicious capabilities instead. So I know some of the signatures you see in security analytics will be things like a PDF with a bad XREF section, and it can detect that using built-in YARA rules, but we never had any way to combine those rules into something that would be high fidelity. And that's what I'm trying to do with this project. Anything else? Yes.
I was just wondering if you could speak to, or maybe you run into this, the aggregation of the suspicion rating. So you got 20 rules. Each of them have a dedicated suspicion rating for each rule, whatever number. Have you run into any cases where a given file hits on 7 of those rules, and because it was those specific 7, the aggregation of those together in your mind would equate to a much higher or lower suspicion rating? So not paying attention to just the suspicion rating in each rule, but aggregations of those. And did that influence your either tuning of the rules or how you analyze the data coming out of your YARA hits?
So I've run into that in one very specific case in my current job. You know the file I'm talking about. It is a daily update. I won't speak to all that much, but the heuristics on it and the capabilities it has look like the most malicious piece of software ever written. And we wrote it on purpose, and it's completely non-malicious, so I'm definitely still trying to use that and similar cases to tune down the rule set, possibly write some exceptions for specific combinations of capabilities. Yes?
So I blinked and missed exactly how the YARA rule was pulling the keystroke. I assume you were looking for like the system function call.
Right. In this case, I was looking for the Windows API call.
Okay. Have you experimented at all with looking at more behaviors of evasion for highly invasive malware, like doing CPU stalls or checking that the Windows frequently used documents is populated and things like that?
So I am working on some heuristics for those. I definitely don't have anything I would consider production ready. Trying to kind of write those on a case-by-case basis as I see samples actively using them. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time these days to go out and hunt for samples, so I'm largely limited to just what crosses my desk at work. But yes, absolutely, I am making an effort and would welcome all the help in the world if you're into malware research with gathering more useful heuristics for that. It's like giving a brown bag at work. It's hard to draw questions out of people. I know you have questions. You want to tell me why I'm wrong, why this won't work. Come on, do it. No? All right, well, this may be the shortest talk in the history of BSides then. Maybe not, I don't know. Somebody may have given like a 10-minute presentation. Do you have anything?
No, I can talk.
You're involved in this effort too.
Is this thing on? Oh God, it is. So I think an interesting aspect about what Brian's trying to do with this, and that I'm trying to help with, is the pivot from using YARA to identify files or pieces of files or even binary images in memory on the network, but trying to look more back towards these capabilities. What do these software modules do, or what can they do? And I think that's a good match for YARA most of the time, because we can use YARA in all kinds of interesting places that we can't use other tools. One of the things that I end up doing a lot at work as well as in my LH free time is memory analysis. And it may surprise some folks to know that you can actually run YARA rules against raw memory. So being able to use these rules that we're trying to write at least help to evaluate the capabilities of these modules in memory, as well as on the network, to Brian's point, I think it's a really great way to do it. They're extremely vulnerable because it's already unpacked and decrypted and possibly already done something malicious. So the strings and bytes, which is all we can look for in YARA, are there for us to find, and then it's just a case of us, signaturizing the stuff, writing rules, and figuring out how to score it. So I think there's a lot of value to this approach. I think that the rules writing is part of it that the community can really help out with. That the massive machine for processing all of these networks and the other crazy stuff we're trying to do is going to be specific to an environment. So if you don't want to do that, or if you don't see how you can help with that, that's great. But if you have even a single idea for a malicious or interesting software capability, and possibly one or more strings or runs of bytes that would indicate that it's available, throw it at us. I have some of the stuff in GitHub. I can get a logo. We can get things going in a hurry if we get a few more people to help. And I really think that it will be a useful tool for a lot of folks in a lot of different ways, as a supplement to some of the other detection methods that we already have. Because using YARA as a substitute or as an additional AV scanner that you might have a little more control over, it's not the best use of it. It can do so much more. And it's so flexible compared to some of the other stuff that we can work with. Just feeding it better rules will make you get better results.
And on that note, I would like to make the point, I'm not presenting this as the be-all and end-all that's going to end the antivirus business by any stretch of the imagination. It's just another tool in the toolbox. I hope that we can build it into a really, really useful tool. And I'm going to keep reiterating, I will consider criticism every bit as valuable as any input you may have. So please let me know if I'm doing this all wrong. See, he's going to let me know.
No criticism here. So I really like this idea. So I'm just going to spitball like a signature that came to my mind as you were describing this. One would be for like a really easy method of detecting privilege escalation.
Mm-hmm.
So like scan for all user mode PKs. So how would you scan for that? I guess going off the PFAW format, so to differentiate like a driver versus a user mode PE, I'd probably look at the subsystem field in the optional header.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be marked as negative, most likely as a driver.
Right.
And then any imports, like the imports that I would certainly be interested in any binary, user mode binary would be like NT-query system information and NT-query interval profile. Two of the most common primitives out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my mind, be a pretty high fidelity, very good likelihood of
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I hadn't actually thought of that, so awesome. You taking notes on this?
Yeah, one question.
Okay.
Are you Brian?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get like 20, 30 minutes of your time after everybody else, you and your compadre?
Sure.
Sweet.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough. Any other questions, commentary? Yes.
Just things that I really like to be very good. Can you hear me now? Okay. All right. Can you show us or describe an operational deployment of YARA? I've never seen it. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it where you layered it with your AD solutions and it provided additional data to react on.
So that is a huge part of what I'm unsuccessfully trying to write and why I'm trying to draw other coders in. It's easily possible through YARA Python. So if you didn't know, there is a Python module specifically for interacting with YARA. You just need to be a good enough programmer to do it. And for anything beyond assembly, I'm fairly ignorant. As nearly as I can tell, I'm the only person below the age of 50 who learned assembly and thinks C++ is confusing. So, yes.
Is your goal with this then to have repos, a GitHub repo of rules, YARA rules that are shared in the community, or Are you looking to build an application that other people would install that also runs all these YARA rules? And the reason I'm dropping that question is I'm curious how you would compare and contrast this to other frameworks like the Lockheed Martin Lycobos, which sounds possibly familiar to this or similar to this.
So admittedly, I've heard of Lycobos. I have not, haven't so much as git cloned it. I keep telling myself I need to, but there's never enough time. That said, both. So I definitely want to do the community rules repo, and then whatever code ends up being finalized for a framework, I want to host that open source as well. So it's definitely there for anybody who wants to download and use it, but it is also there for anybody who wants to modify it or make it better. Please do. And if nobody else contributes, I'll eventually post my code, but I don't recommend using it. I'm a very, very bad programmer. I can't reiterate that enough. All right, if there are no more questions, that's all I had. I will be hanging around for a little while if anybody wants to find me and talk offline. Or up here is my email and my Twitter. So you can certainly find me. Thank you.